It is the 21st of January 2020. Hello, my name is Julie Malcolm. Thank you for listening to all my installments. I will now choose to speak on the response of my head of department regarding this whole saga on my journey to achieving a PhD in linguistics with an emphasis on forensic linguistics. So, having not received a supervisor in August 2018, when I received a written confirmation that the two new supervisors, the two ladies, had recused themselves from my research based on the reported conflict of interest, I reached out to my head of department and we spoke. I was asked if I knew of anybody who could possibly serve as my supervisor, because as she told me, there was absolutely nobody within the department at the University of the West Indies, Mona, who could serve as my research. No, it's not that I'm doing rocket science in linguistics, so I mean, it is beyond me that new students arrive in the university each year and are appointed supervisors at the gate, and I've been there 6 years. So in 2018, I had no supervisor again. And I was asked if I knew of anybody who could possibly serve as my supervisor. Of course, I thought back to articles that I had read, video clips that I had watched regarding supervisors who would have done anything related to my specific area of interest, and I thought of one person. I shared his name with my HOD, my head of department. This is the head of the Department of Language, Linguistics and Philosophy, and I shared it at the UWI Mona, and I shared it with her, shared the name of the linguist with her. She advised me to reach out to him. I did so via email, received a very speedy response, and the response in a nutshell named key linguists within the Caribbean space who were affiliated with the University of the West Indies, Mona, with the understanding that they could possibly serve. Of note were the names, some of the names that were listed, because some of those persons were individuals who were affiliated with my research who had to be removed, or who removed themselves due to ethical reasons. So that raised a red flag. Another thing was that I was asked if I was willing to migrate from Jamaica, leave the University of the West Indies, and come to his university, if that was in my thoughts, because long distance supervisee relationship was not his thing. And of course, I wrote to him, told him I would defer to the wisdom of my head of department. I wrote to my head of department and forwarded his email to her. I did not receive a response. In December of 2018, I met with my head of department. She had I remember this clearly because she had invited me to a photo shoot that would support her communication across the curriculum research that was to be published in a magazine by the university, that would be made available to the public during the university research days the following year. So during that day, I engaged her in conversation. I was like, you didn't respond to the email from the linguist, and she told me that she did not respond because she really did not know what to say to me, because based on what she saw, the linguist, as awesome as he was actually suggesting persons that I had recently moved away from based on their poor ethics. And in addition, it seemed like the gentleman was really saying no, but he was saying it politely, and so it seemed to be a dead case, a dead end. I deferred to her wisdom. It died right there. I was actually on my way to another event to which she took me, and I ran in because I was late, having attended her shoot. In January, when we returned from Christmas break, I went to speak with my head of department, and I asked her if she would serve, because I'm without a supervisor. Time is going. I'm losing money. As an adult, I'm living on the university stipend. And if you've ever done that, you know how difficult that is. It takes a miracle to survive on it, as helpful as the departmental award was. And so I asked her, while you continue to search for an appropriate supervisor, why not serve as supervisor for me? Get me beyond this hump of upgrading from the MPhil to the PhD. I just need to progress. It's killing me on the inside. It's stifling my creativity. It's hampering my progress. I'm losing momentum. I just need to keep going, and no matter what I do, it is null and void unless there's a supervisor who's there assigned by the university. Why not work until you can find somebody to appoint? And she said yes. I thought my problems were over. I asked her how we would do it, how we would make it official. She told me that she could not up and do it. So I had to write to the university, but I should tell the university that I had spoken with her. I had asked her, and she was in favor of it. I did just that. She told me to write to the assistant registrar in charge of graduate studies. I addressed the letter to such a person. I sent it via email. I copied my head of department on that email. This was between January, February 2018. Nothing happened. 2019, I'm sorry. January, February 2019. Nothing happened. I called the Office of Graduate Studies. I told them about the email. They gave me another email address and said, okay, you have sent it directly to the assistant registrar. Send it to this general email address that, her assistants can check. The other persons who work in the office can check and follow up on for her. I did. And on that second email, I copied my head of department. Now, that was when I began getting responses. My head of department, who had now received 2 emails following her instructions, plus a telephone text message, her personal cell phone text message that I had sent the message to confirm that I had, on her advice, sent the email. She was telling me that she never in any way agreed to anything that I said in the email. And I was like, what? Then UWI wrote me to say, oh, your HOD is not available. So I want to know if it's me mad, because why would I craft false information and send it to the very person that I'm telling the lie on? That don't make no sense. Even me fool, me not that fool. I just backed away and left it. So that was January, February. Nothing happened. January, February 2019 regarding the appointment of a supervisor for me. Nothing. In the summer of 2019, my HOD called and gave me the same option that led to the cascas we just came out of. That she could serve as my supervisor to get me over the hump of upgrading to a PhD. And I was like, I hung up the phone. I told her I would think about it, and I hung up the phone, and I did not get back to her. Because I just hung up the phone and I waited. No supervisor was assigned. Because I was not thinking of going back to UWI to do the same thing all over again, only to have her recant what she said. And the thread of emails can be made available. So in August, I really thought about it, and in September of 2019, this academic year, I wrote to her and I asked her for an update regarding the sourcing and appointment of a supervisor for my research. And she all but traced me off. My head of department of the Faculty of Language, Linguistics and Philosophy told me in an email, and that email can be made available, that make no sense she appoint me one supervisor because me just go find one fault with the supervisor like how me find with the other supervisor them with the university give to me. And me ungrateful because me not understand the effort with the university I make for help me to complete my research. Now me know all of the bad words them in Jamaica. I can sing them, I can rap them, I can DJ them. I can say them in English, I can say them in Pato. And all of them flooded my mind. But my parents didn't teach me, say me not to be rude. I'm not to be rude to persons who are my senior, persons who are more mature. And so I calmed down and then I responded using English language to her in an email where I proved to her using documented evidence that we both have and that can be made available to you. That no go so. Because how is it my fault? Because she blame me right now, a victim blaming right there. The university, when you occupied the chair and when you did not occupy the chair, gave me 3 supervisors who had to relieve themselves of duties or whose duties were pulled from them because they were unethical. They were proven to be unethical. And you blame me? And my fault? So I never did want one PhD. And I feel my fault make the 3 people who already have PhD try to separate me from my PhD. I not have ambition. And my fault. Yeah, and my fault. I'm not supposed to have no ambition. I'm not supposed to aim high. I'm not supposed to try to get no PhD. Who am I? Who am I? Yeah, me just be settled with whatever I have already. It's too much for me. The research is awesome. But what is too good for me, even though I created it. So yeah. So as you can see, this situation would have started with Professor Hubert Definition even before him. Because at the onset, I was made to understand at a seminar put on by the Office of Graduate Studies and Research. And this presentation was being done by the Assistant Registrar in charge of grad studies. And when in her presentation, she said that she was outlining the research application to completion process. And she said that the university will ensure that the names of the supervisors are actually documented in the acceptance letters that are sent out to prospective grad students. And I remember raising my hand and telling her that that wasn't my experience. Because I registered in 2014, tuition paid in full, in good financial standing, in good academic standing with the university. And for the first year and a half, I did not have a supervisor. And then I got a supervisor for about 12 months who separated me from my research and claimed it as his. And then after that, UWI operated on his recommendation to appoint 2 other supervisors, 2 ladies, one who has a law degree. 2 ladies to serve as my research, and both of them had to recuse themselves because of a reported conflict of interest. If you listen to a previous post that I made, you'll see that the claims that they made, the utterances that they made that amounted to a conflict of interest, and they had to be relieved of their duties, or they relinquished their duties. And I have that in writing, and that can be made available. That was 2018. So between 2016 and 2018, 3 people were appointed who had to be relieved of their duties. I've been in this program from 2014. It is now January 2020. Can I really trust the UWI? Will anyone ever be held accountable? Am I the only student who is experiencing this? Why is nobody else speaking out? Yeah, I know the backlash because I've experienced the backlash and I continue to experience the backlash. But the only thing to fear is fear itself. Please share these recordings on all your social media platforms. We do not create light by hiding in darkness. We create light by lighting a candle. By sharing, you are lighting a candle to bring light to this situation and to those students who are currently suffering in the same condition. Thank you. I will make another recording dealing with the actual research that I am doing on the focus of said research. Stay tuned.